All right, well, hello to the fifth graders. As we are continuing along here in math this year, we're looking at Chapter 4, Lesson 4.1 today. And the first set of directions that you're going to be working with today say find the product. Well, we've talked about this in class before. Whenever we're talking about that word product, the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So, obviously, as you see here, we're going to be doing some multiplying today. But it's going to be pretty basic mental math. Let's look at this first one. 83 times 10 to the power of 4. Well, we want to remember that 10 to the power of 4 is a 1 with 4 zeros after it. We've talked about that before with exponents. 10 to the power of 4 is a 1 with 4 zeros after it. So I want to first think to myself, well, 83 times 1. Well, I know that 83 times 1 is 83. But this number isn't 1, it's 1 with 4 zeros after it. And using the zeros trick, I would have to add those 4 zeros to my answer, which means I've got to put 83 and then 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Count back to get my comma in the right place. 1, 2, 3. My comma is going to go right there. 830,000. 30 times 70, no exponent here, but I can use that zeros trick. Remember, all I have to think here is 3 times 7. Well, I know that 3 times 7 is 21. And then when I'm multiplying, I add all those zeros, 1, 2, 3, to my answer. Count back to get a comma, 1, 2, 3. I get 21,000. Moving right along, 13 times 10 to the power of 3. Well, once again, this is a 1 with 3 zeros after it now because the exponent is 3. Well, I know that 13 times 1 is 13. And then this number isn't just 1, though. It's 1 with 3 zeros after it. So those 3 zeros have to become part of my answer. Count back again to get my comma in the right place. Every 3 numbers. There you go. Moving right along here, 60 times 80. Same thing as I kind of had here. All I'm basically thinking is 6 times 8. Well, 6 times 8 is 48. I add my 2 zeros on to the end of my answer, and I get 4,800. When I look at this next one, it's 10 to the power of 6 times 70. All right, well, this is a 1 with 6 zeros after it. This is a 70, so I can just think 7 if I want to. But in this situation, I think it's easier to think of the 7D because I don't want to forget this about this 0 here. And I know that 70 times 1 is 70. Then I just go ahead and put that 0. And I know that this is a 1 with 6 zeros after it, which would be 1 million. So I'm going to add these 6 zeros on because I know that 70 times 1 is 70. Then I'm going to include these 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to count down backwards in sets of 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a comma there. 1, 2, 3. Put a comma there. I end up with 70 million. All right, well, we'll move on to the second part here, which tells us to find the missing factor, where now we have the product. Now we're basically solving an equation to find the missing number in the problem. And so this is an introduction to solving equations, which is something you'll do later on in your math life. This is 24,000 is equaling 40 times something. Well, one of the rules that you will hear me talk about is whenever you want to solve a multiplication equation, which is what this is, we're trying to solve an unknown number in a multiplication problem. It has an equal sign, so we're not talking about expressions anymore. We're talking about equations. You divide. So to solve a multiplication equation, you divide, which means in 40 times something equals 24,000. What I have to do is 24,000 divided by 40. That's the math problem I need to do. And essentially, I'm going to use a zeros trick with division. I'm going to think 24 divided by 4. Well, I know that 24 divided by 4 is 6. Now in division, I don't just take all these zeros and add them on. We've talked about this before. I see that there's less zeros here than there are here, so I'm going to cross one of them off there, which means I'm going to cross one of them off there, and I see that I have 2 zeros left. Those 2 zeros have to become part of my answer. So I cross the same off from each side until there's a side that doesn't have any zeros, and then the ones that are left on the other side get put into my answer. All right, well, 630,000 is what something times 10 to the power of 4 equals. So I have an unknown number times 10 to the power of 4 equals 630,000. Well, I'm going to set up the same sort of thing. It's going to be 630,000 divided by 10 to the power of 4. Now, I already know that 10 to the power of 4 is a 1 with 4 zeros after it, or 10,000. All right, so I can think to myself, okay, well, I'm going to think 63 divided by 1. Well, 63 divided by 1 is 63, okay? And I see, well, I've got 4 zeros here. I have 4 zeros here. So they both have the same amount of zeros, which means they're all going to get canceled out because I'm going to cross off 4 here, which means I have to cross off 4 there, and there's no zeros left to have as part of my answer. So my final answer is 63. Well, let's look on to the next one. 600 times something equals 36,000. So, once again, to solve a multiplication equation, you divide 36,000 divided by 600. I'm going to think to myself 36 divided by 6. Well, 36 divided by 6 is 6. When I do that, because I know that 6 times 6 is 36, I see I have 2 zeros here, but I have 3 over here. So this side has less, so I'm going to cross the 2 off that are here. I'm going to come over here and cross 2 of the zeros off, and I see that I have 1 zero left. That 0 has to become part of my answer. 600 times 60. And I should go ahead and fill these blanks in, because that's what you're actually going to have to do on your paper. This first one, I see that I got 600. This second one, I see that I got 63. All right, and so then I get 60 here. So this last one, 90 times blank, equals 810,000. 90 times blank equals 810,000. Well, I'm going to be taking 810,000. I'm going to be dividing it by 90, because to solve a multiplication equation, you divide. I think to myself, 81 divided by 9. Well, 81 divided by 9 is 9. I see I only have 1 zero here, but I have 4 here. So I'm going to cross the 1 off here. I'm going to cross 1 off on that side, and I'm going to see that I have 3 zeros left. Those 3 zeros have to become part of my answer. I see that I get 9,000. And so it's 90 times 9,000 that equals 810,000. All right, not expecting a whole lot of difficulty today, 5th grade. That's find the missing factor, find the product. We'll talk to you later. Bye.